Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ian McNaughton, aka Big E. We are back doing our 2021 F1 season in review series. In case you're wondering about the fit, I'm doing this video before the Seahawks game against the LA Rams. And if you've missed some of the other videos, I highly suggest you go take a look at them. I did Haas, Williams. Is that all I did last week? No, Haas, Williams, Alfa Romeo. Those are the three videos I did last week. Haas, Alfa Romeo, Williams. Go take a look at those videos if you haven't checked them out already. I'd highly suggest you do so. And then we have more videos coming out this week, including the Aston Martin, which I'm going to do right now, Alpha Tauri, Alpine, and I think McLaren this week as well. And Ferrari, possibly. Who knows? Anyways, that's what's going down. So let's do our 2021 F1 season in review for Aston Martin. They finished 7th in the constructors standings this season with 77 points, a lot of sevens there. They finished 7th as Racing Point in 2019 with Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll. So they were up to, I believe, 3rd in 2020, back down, or third in 2020, back down to 7th this year after being in 7th in 2019. One podium this season for Aston Martin. That was Vettel in Baku. Vettel had his 4th lowest point total of his career. He had 43 points in 22 races. That comes after he had 33 points in 17 races in 2020 with Ferrari. That's really going to look bad if you look down the line, looking back in history, the 2020 season with Vettel and Ferrari, not a great year. He had 35 points in 18 races in 2008. That was with Toro Rosso. He had 6 points in 8 races in 2007 with Toro Rosso and Sauber. So yeah, 4th lowest point total of his career. It was not a great year for Sebastian Vettel. First time in his career that he's gone two consecutive seasons without a win. Tough look for Vettel for sure. Stroll kind of regressed. He got less than half the points this year than he did in 2020. So a little bit of regression from Lance Stroll. I think part of it is also the car, but Stroll definitely regressed. And yeah, the car was worse this year compared to the 2020 version with Racing Point compared to Aston Martin. Best moments of the 2021 season for Aston Martin, Seb getting 2nd in Baku. That was probably the highlight of the year. The first podium, the only podium that Aston Martin would get this season. His first second place finish since Mexico 2019. Started 11th, worked his way up the field into 2nd, got some help from some drivers who either crashed or just fell back in the pack. Certainly the brightest spot this season for Aston Martin. Monaco was also a good race for them. One of 3 double points finished this season for Aston. Vettel got 5th, Stroll got 8th. Vettel just staying ahead of Gasly and coming out of the pit lane. One of the few exciting moments from that race. And then I have Qatar. Stroll started 12th. He finished 6th. Vettel got 10th. It was kind of the last high note in what had otherwise been an underwhelming season for Aston Martin. I mean, even in Baku, Stroll had the great chance of getting a top 10 finish, and then he had tire failure, crashed into the wall. Just an unfortunate incident with him, but at least Seb got 2nd. Qatar, a really good performance from Lance Stroll, getting all the way up to 6th. Vettel getting 10th was also impressive. And otherwise, the rest of the season has kind of just been flat. And speaking of the worst moments of the season, we started in Hungary, where Stroll sent it a bit too hard into turn 1, caused a crash. I believe he ran into Leclerc on his right side. He didn't even make the apex. He didn't even make the turn. He just cut way inside onto the grass, took out Leclerc. Vettel nearly finished 1st, but couldn't pass Ocon. He finished 2nd, but then was later disqualified because there was a lack of fuel. They couldn't pull, I believe, was it a 1 liter? They couldn't pull enough fuel out of his car. So there's a disqualification for that. And, what could have been a 2nd podium for Vettel in a bright spot turned out to be no points for Aston Martin. So that's where, the worst moment, the most underwhelming part of it comes. Austria, the Austrian Grand Prix, 1 week after finishing 9th and 10th at the Styrian Grand Prix. Stroll finished 13th. Vettel finished 17th. Vettel was crashed by Kimi in the second sector on the final lap. So if you remember seeing Max coming around final turn, there's a yellow flag. It's because Kimi looks like he isn't paying attention. Looks like he just runs into Vettel as Vettel's going by him, crashes. Vettel still gets 17th because he completed 90% of the race, but he crashed on the last lap. Just an overall bad weekend. Like they didn't qualify well, they didn't have any pace, and they were just flat in Austria. Portugal, Vettel finished 13th, Stroll finished 14th. Nothing directly impacted them. They were just slow. It was a good summary for kind of how their season went. Like just kind of there. They weren't all that competitive. I think people thought more of them, but they didn't really have more to give. So it was just kind of disappointing. That's all it really was. Their season out of 5 stars, I gave it 2.5. I think people had a lot of high expectations coming into this year. And then I remember the testing in Bahrain, the car was not very good. And I said it I first said it there. Aston Martin's not going to be good this year because the car is not that good. And kind of since then, it's just been kind of going downhill here and there. They get obviously podium, they get in Baku, and they get some, points finishes, but it's really not what people thought Aston Martin would be this year. I think they thought they would be closer to Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Alpine, between like 4, 5, 6, not all the way down to 7th, not below all those teams. But let's talk about some storylines heading into 2022. So a storyline I have is, what is Aston Martin? Not literally, of course, like we know Aston Martin's a car company, but what direction do they want to go in? What kind of team are they? Are they a midfield team like Alpine and AlphaTauri, or are they contenders like Mercedes and Red Bull? Even Ferrari, McLaren, like, do they think they're up at that level? Changes in the middle of the season for Aston Martin include former Alfa Romeo chief designer Luca Ferbato to be the new engineering director, while Andrew Green got promoted to chief technical officer. This all took place in July. The focus now for Aston Martin is on the new 2022 car with all these new regulations and modifications. Their new factory that they're building across from Silverstone track, that's not going to be open until 2023. A lot of money is being invested and resources being invested there, and they're hiring 250 new people over that time. So there's a lot of hiring that's going on. There's a lot of money that's being invested. There's a lot of energy being taken into consideration for 2022 and beyond. If the goal is to be at the front of the pack, everything they do has to be working towards that goal. If they want to be with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes and Max Verstappen and Red Bull, if they want to be at that level, everything they do has to be towards that goal. They have to be going for that goal every day in everything they do. That's something to keep an eye on heading into the offseason into 2022. Another storyline I have is, is this going to be Lance Stroll's last season with Aston Martin? I know his dad owns the team, but his dad, Lawrence Stroll, is investing way too much money, time, energy to have not good enough results, to have results, to have middle of the pack results. There's too much money, there's too much time, there's too much effort. All that stuff is being put in by Lawrence Stroll, and he can't afford to have middling results. And I don't think Stroll is an awful driver. Like, he's no Nikita Mazepin. He's far better than that. I mean, he's put up some respectable finishes this year in the Drivers' Championship. He was 13th this year. He was 11th in 2020, 15th 2019. Poor year in 2018 when he was 18th, 12th in 2017. Like, there are some decent numbers here, but that might just be who Lance Stroll is. He's just a middling driver who is just an driver. Like, he could fit really well with Alfa Romeo. He might just be a Canadian Giovinazzi. That might just be who he is. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can be that. You can be just a middling driver who just can't get into the top 10 on a regular basis. And that's okay. It's just for Aston Martin and what they're doing and all that's being put into that team, Lance Stroll is not good enough. Whether his father recognizes that and pulls the plug on him being a driver after this season, interesting question. It also, depends on how well he performs. He performs well on certain tracks. Like he's finished top 10 in the last 3 races at Silverstone. He's only finished out of the top 10 once in 5 races at Monza. Was in line for another top 10 at Baku this year before tire failure. But Lawrence needs, at minimum, a consistent pair that finishing in the top 10. They have to be, that's the bare minimum. Both drivers need to be top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. And I don't think Lance is that guy. I just don't. You're not that guy, pal. That's kind of how I feel about Lance Stroll. I just don't think he's that guy who's going to be consistently, year after year, getting in the top 10 of the Drivers' Championship. This will be especially true if Lance has a poor performance in the first half of 2022. If he does not start well, like in his first half dozen races, there's going to be a lot of rumors flying and there's going to be a lot of attention on him. And speaking of Aston Martin drivers, have we seen the best of Sebastian Vettel? Slight improvement points-wise this season, like I mentioned earlier, 43 points this year compared to 33 in 2020. Aston Martin's car was not as competitive this season as it was in 2020. I still believe Seb is a talented driver who could win another Drivers' Championship. I just don't think it's going to happen at Aston Martin, at least not in the next 3 years, however long Seb has to left to drive. Like I think Seb maybe has 3, 4, 5 years left of driving, 2 or 3 of them that are really competitive that he could possibly win a championship. If the right car is there, there's part of me that still believes that he can do that. Having him there on Aston Martin is a good thing while there's several changes going on in the organization, like branding and the offices, the new factory, this new, staff additions that are taking place. It makes a lot of sense because he's a happy, positive, upbeat individual who will make things smoother. I think that's really important for Aston Martin. But have we seen the best of him? Is this the end of Sebastian Vettel as a top Formula One driver? I don't know. I hope not. I think he might just need to be on a better team, or he needs a better car, and maybe we'll have a better car. We'll see a better car from Aston Martin next year. I don't know for sure, but that's something to keep in mind as we go into 2022 as well. That's all I have on my storylines notes for Aston Martin. Thank you very much for watching this video. It's greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, go back and watch some of my early videos on Haas, Alfa Romeo, Williams. Really good stuff there. We'll have some more videos coming out this week, as well as a few podcasts. So stick around. Be sure to take in all the content that comes out this week. You can follow us at Speak Your Piece on Instagram, Speak Your Piece 3 on Twitter. Be sure to like this video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to be back again later on this week. Peace out.